For what purpose does the gentleman from Connecticut rise?
Speak for 1 minute, out of order.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On Friday morning, I brought my 4-year-old to school. I dropped him off at 8:45, just like millions of other parents did all across this country. And a few hours later, I saw him again. He had a big smile on his face. In Newtown, Connecticut, on Friday, 20 parents dropped their first graders off at Sandy Hook Elementary, or kissed them goodbye as they got on the school bus. And that was the last time they saw their kids. Something horrible, something unexplainable happened at Sandy Hook Elementary last week. And when people ask me how are folks doing, I tell them, right now there's a lot of blank looks. These people are just trying to process what happened. 20 gleaming, beautiful children were gunned down, along with 6 adults who loved them dearly, by a young man with a sickness that masqueraded as evil that day. And so we're left asking all these questions. Why? Why us? Why these little kids? Why did he do it? Why weren't we able to prevent this from happening? The whys are almost infinite. And in the coming days and weeks, I guess we'll get some answers to these questions, but most of them won't have answers. But when you peek through this vast, crippling darkness of the last 4 days, there's one answer that we know for certain. If we ever wondered what kind of community Newtown was, if we ever doubted the deepness of our love for one another, those questions have been answered. They've been answered definitively. They were answered by Principal Dawn Hawkspring, who told her colleagues to run one way so that she could run the other way, directly toward the gunman. They were answered by Victoria Soto, who hid her kids in a closet and died shielding her students from the assassin's bullets. And they've been answered by the thousands of individual acts of humanity that have overflowed from the people of Newtown in the days since the shooting. A community just pouring out love, trying to help console this incalculable grief. I went to the first of too many funerals this morning. And the last thing we know is this, is that all those wonderful little faces that you see on TV and in the newspaper, like Noah Posner, who was laid to rest this morning, they're a reminder that despite the terrible, awful things that happen, that inside the hearts of all of us is this unbelievable goodness. That's all Noah Posner had, was goodness, was just this purity of spirit. Newtown's going to survive this because it's a close town, and they hurt more because they're close, but they also can survive because they're close. And they can also survive because they just will get this inspiration from these 20 little kids who just are asking this town to remember how good they were and try to equal that. As Newtown wrestles with this grief and recovery, the thoughts and the prayers from others matter. I want to thank everyone here for all of the individual love that you've showered down upon our little town. I want to thank the Connecticut delegation here with me today for all of their support. It helps in some small way to know that the world is grieving with us. So, Mr. Speaker, I would ask that the House now rise.
The Chair would ask all present to rise and to observe a moment of silence.